There's something different about Reddit horror. It's not like creepy TikToks or YouTube videos with dramatic music. Reddit feels raw, anonymous, like you're reading someone's real thoughts at 3 a.m. that they weren't supposed to share. Sometimes it's dumb and funny, but sometimes it hits too close. You scroll one post too far and suddenly it's not a story anymore, it's stuck in your head. So I made this video to show you some of the most disturbing Reddit stuff I've found lately. Weird, creepy, and all real. So let's get into it. Follow my Instagram, join my Discord, subscribe to the channel, and also I just made a Patreon with exclusive videos, so if you're interested in exclusive videos, check that out. You actually get to pick what videos I make on the Patreon, so that's a pretty cool feature. But anyways, let's get into these Reddit things. Homicidal Memer. Homicidal Memer is a post made by user Narato to r/advice animals in 2013 with the title "Finally Have the Guts to Say It," featuring a meme confessing to a crime. The meme is using one of the famous advice animals, Confession Bear, with the text saying, "My sister had an abusive meth addict boyfriend. I killed him with his own drugs while he was unconscious and they ruled it as an overdose." Such a crazy confession to make using a bear meme. Like everything on the internet, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Anything can be fake, but it can be true too, so as all weirdos on the internet do, they try to find Narato's information. The post was made using their real account, so it was quick for them to find everything, questioning whether they should really contact anyone from the FBI or the police or anything. After a while, Narato made another post regarding it, titled "In Hindsight," quote, "First and only comment to be made here by me. I posted this wondering what would happen, and there is some truth behind it, but I'm not saying what was true and what wasn't. If I had $1 for every time someone took me too seriously on the internet, I would be able to retire from today alone. I'm sorry to anyone that I've offended to the point of ruining their lives. To everyone else, get fucked. It's the damn internet. If you want to catch a murderer, get out your house, put on some fucking tights, and go fight crime. I'm quite done with Reddit for tonight. Back to the shadows of lurking. The world isn't quite ready for me. Edit. The reason for this post and the admittance it was a joke is because people started posting my own personal information on here, not shit that was in my post history. Sure, you can find out information about me, but linking it to something that happened is completely different. I made a meme about something and it was turned into people revealing my personal information. It was quite rude and very uncalled for." Unquote. Even after that, he decided to post a meme about it, saying, "If you joke about murder on Reddit without a throwaway account, you're gonna have a bad time." After all of this though, he still deleted his account. Maybe he wasn't joking after all, maybe it was fully real, or maybe he just couldn't handle the stress of people not believing him and still trying to find his personal info. What I do know is that he french fried when he should have pizza'd.
What the f does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Rados Blue 101. This refers to a user on Reddit that made a post on r/Canada News confessing to a murder. The post was titled "Wanted for Kitchen Murder My Side," a very straightforward title to what he was confessing to. Quote, "I understand the early judgment made by society. Distancing myself makes it seem like I'm trying to escape a crime. I'm not. I'm only trying to give myself some space and fully take in what happened before I turn myself in. The fact is, no one is more destroyed than I am. She was more than a girlfriend, a soon-to-be fiance. She was my everything. What happened that night was nothing but tragic. Looking back, we've been in a relationship for a year and 3 months. This was the first serious long-term relationship for the both of us, so everything we did was a new experience. We traveled the world, our families met, we had fights and made up. We talked seriously about marriage and kids, the whole deal. I would never physically hurt her in any way. She would occasionally hit or slap me when I said something stupid, but I'd laugh it off. She met all my friends and family. Wherever I went, she was there. She would come to my house from Kitchener every week, about an hour, starting Fridays, and would stay for 3 or 4 days. We were incredibly used to each other. The last month of our relationship, I started asking her to give me some space so I can work on my job. She started coming less and less like I asked. During March, her friend Anna got pregnant. Melinda and Anna then moved in together because Anna has a big family and wanted privacy in case she keeps the baby. I never met any of Melinda's friends at this stage. 1.2 years in, she told me all her friends only use her. That part was incredibly clear to me. They would only contact her if they needed their hair done or had boyfriend problems, including Anna. 1.3 months in, April, Melinda and I got into an argument via text and our relationship ended. I went to her apartment that day to try to talk. Every time I tried breaking up with her, she would call my mom or drive down to my house. So this time I figured I would do the same. Upon arrival, I was confronted by Anna's brother and her boyfriend. A physical altercation took place and the police were involved. At this point, I knew if we were to patch things up, it would be rough. We didn't see each other for a few weeks. Later on in April, Melinda and I started texting again. We agreed to see each other and talk, April 29th. She was originally supposed to drive down to my house, but fell sick, so I told her I would come, and she agreed. Melinda told me Anna and her boyfriend were present. Incident from before might make things awkward. I didn't mind. Upon arrival, it was just Melinda. She said Anna went to drop Christina off at a club, Melinda's sister. She invited me to her room right away. We cuddled and talked. We never spent so much time away from each other. We just cuddled, kissed, talked about everything. A while later, Anna came back with another friend. She asked Melinda if everything was okay, and Melinda said yes. Anna will attest to this if she is honest. We continued to talk and finally decided it was worth it to try one more time. However, Melinda didn't want anyone to know, especially her family. She said after the police were involved in a physical altercation with Anna's brother and boyfriend wouldn't be right if they knew right away. She said after the police were involved and a physical altercation with Anna's brother and boyfriend, things wouldn't be right if they knew right away. I agreed we would keep it on the down low until things cooled down. We continued to talk. Anna and her other friend left the house to grab food. We both let everything out and our relationship was back on track. As I'm getting ready to leave, she asked me if I had done anything with any other girls while we were on break or any time we were on break. I told her we needed to be honest and said yes and told her about it. She started freaking out, wouldn't say a word and just kept slapping me with tears in her eyes. Slaps turned into hits. I told her I was sorry, but if she didn't stop, I'd do something back. She didn't stop. I then stupidly pushed her harder than I expected. She fell against the sink. This was the first time I ever did something physically violent toward her. I told her I was sorry. She said, leave now. I began saying sorry even more and asked if I could get a hug. She was still crying. I go up to her to try to get a hug. Almost out of nowhere, she grabs a knife by the sink. Initially, I thought she was just going to hold it to try to tell me to leave. She doesn't. She comes at me in full force, aiming towards my face. I tell her to stop. She doesn't. I tried grabbing the knife but ended up cutting my hands. After a few cuts, I lost it. I freaked out. I was scared and in a state of shock. Never in 100 years did I think she would use a knife against me. Out of shock and fear, I grab one. I hit her with it, almost blindly, a few times. I didn't know what happened. I was confused, shocked, and scared. I had no intentions of that happening. When I left, I honestly thought she just passed out. Then I looked at the blood and started freaking out and just ran. I didn't for sure know that she had died until the next day. I honestly had no intentions of ever doing that to her. I was protecting myself." Unquote. This was it, the incident that happened which led to her death. A freak out from being with someone else led this woman to her death, if this was true. In order to find out, we must read the rest of the post and look deeper into this. Quote, "She was with me the most. We were each other's best friends. She would tell me everything. Her deepest secrets that not even her friends or family knows. The amount of regret and sadness is beyond words. Everyone else is just reading or talking about it. I lived it. I was there. I did it. Every waking second I relived that moment. At this stage, life is really not worth it for me. Although it was out of shock and protection, I should have just accepted getting hit. Maybe I would have lived. Maybe not. Anything is better than living with this. I'm reading the news and they're saying that it was targeted or an act of terrorism? Why would I buy her roses that night if I was planning on killing her? I didn't even go home that night. I always have a passport in the car and just decided to get away for a few days before turning myself in or ending myself. If any of it was planned, I would have taken my stuff. I would have taken cash. I'm in the United States with $200, no clean clothes, nothing. I didn't intend on any of it. It was out of fear and protecting myself alongside shock. I'm sorry to everyone, especially Melinda's family. I know it will not be accepted, but no, I didn't mean anything bad to happen that night when I first went there. Rest in peace, my beautiful. I hope you forgive me in the afterlife." Unquote. At first read, the confession seems genuine, and he did feel sorry about it, hoping for forgiveness from everyone related to Melinda. A fight gone wrong, an unintentional killing with heavy regret. To prove that this was real, he linked to Imgur albums filled with pictures of himself and Melinda, and text messages between them before the killing, when he was going to the house to make up with her. The incident would happen on the 28th of April 2017, and followed shortly after was more info about it. The man in those pictures and who wrote the confession was Agar Mohsen Hassan. According to police, Hassan was ordered to stay away from Melinda earlier in April after a break-in and an assault, coinciding with the encounter Hassan had with Anna's brother and a boyfriend. Hassan crossed through the border into the United States after writing the post. A GoFundMe was made to raise funds for Melinda's funeral arrangements, raising over $17,000. Hassan wasn't caught until mid-September in San Antonio, Texas. Hassan entered a plea of guilty for manslaughter, stating that he didn't have any intention of killing Melinda and that he blacked out and only stabbed her only a few times. His plea was denied with evidence of second-degree murder. Melinda was stabbed 47 times, a far cry from the few times Hassan stated. The wounds varied from 27 to the neck, 6 to her chest, and the rest in various other places. The Crown Attorney stated that Hassan stabbed Melinda after she refused getting back together with him, a different story than the one Hassan told about her freaking out over him getting with another woman. Out of the 47 stabs, evidence was found only 3 were used with a serrated knife, bent and found in the kitchen, with the other 44 other wounds coming from another knife found laying in the living room. I don't think anyone would use 2 knives as self-defense and would stab someone that many times in true self-defense. It's been over 6 years since his capture. Hassan's been in custody, and he was sentenced to 16 years before he can be eligible for parole, meaning he would be out at the earliest in 2033 at 41 years old. Hopefully, he can turn himself around with the regret he holds in those 16 years, because I don't buy the whole, "Oh, how many girls have you been with? Oh, I'm gonna bring a knife to you about that." I don't buy that, personally, but that's just me. The next one we're talking about is Brandy Worley / Jason in Hell. So this one refers to a post made in r/relationship advice by user Jason in Hell, with the events following leading to tragic murders. The post was titled, "I'm a 30 male having a hard time coping with my wife, 29 female, having cheated on me with our neighbor, 51 male." While the post was deleted, what was said in the post can still be found. So to go back to the beginning, I had just taken on a new project and new responsibilities at work. I was working a lot of hours, 60 per week, and was noticeably stressed. It was in May of 2015 that I noticed she had added a password to her phone. When confronted about it, she told me it was because she was planning my Father's Day present and didn't want to ruin the surprise. About a week later, she came to me and told me she felt guilty keeping a big secret from me, and told me that she was having our neighbor, a contractor, build a home office for me as my present. It struck me as odd, as in our 6 years together, she has never said she felt guilty about anything, and always insists that she never regrets anything in her life. Time goes on, her phone is still password protected, and things don't feel right. I see her using her phone and smiling to herself more and more often. But when I ask her what she's doing, she says nothing and puts her phone away. So one morning, I wait for her to get in the shower and I grab her phone before it requires the password. I go through her messages and find that she's texting the neighbor. "I am all covered in frosting, you want to lick it off." There were no other messages to the neighbor, but I found out later that it was because she had set up her phone to delete messages after a certain amount of time. I felt uncomfortable with it, but I knew she had a perverted sense of humor, and I thought she would never do anything to hurt me. Unquote. Dude, come on, bro. You're chalking it up to a sense of humor, bro. Oh my, dude, this guy. I can't imagine someone going through their partner's phone and seeing that and being like, oh, she's just a goofball. Anyways, let's keep reading. Quote, more time goes by and the neighbor is spending more and more time at our house, but the office is being completed slower and slower. I can't help but worry that something isn't right, so I started checking her location using Google Timeline. It was at this point that I realized that there were large gaps in her GPS history because she must have been turning off her phone GPS. Fast forward to July, and at this point, the paranoia is driving me nuts. So I tell her that I need to install a new antivirus on her phone. While she has it unlocked for me, I install anti-theft software so I can remotely turn the GPS back on and set up AT&T message backup and restore so I can read all of her text messages from that point on my computer. Unquote. This method of deception to be able to track someone and find out their dirt seems to be a weird and borderline crazy thing to do. I've seen through my videos that this has led to terrible things. Like a video about disturbing things to happen on TikTok, one guy downloaded a software to use the camera on his daughter's iPad, catching his wife cheating on him, going on to kill both of them. I think it's a big gray area to go and do this, because you can find out the truth, but some people will use that to make bad decisions, and also it's just an invasion of privacy. You should always talk it out instead. I mean, if he was honest about this with his wife and just said like what he saw, it could have ended up a little bit better, but let's keep reading to find out how it really ends. Quote, the next day, my mother asked to spend time with my two kids, so my wife drops them off with her and has the day to herself. I watch my wife's activity from work as she spends the day trying to meet up with the neighbor but is unsuccessful because he's busy with another job site. That night, we got the kids back from my mom's house and we went out to dinner with the neighbor, his girlfriend, and his son. My wife and his girlfriend are having a good time drinking, laughing, and just joking around. His girlfriend mentions that she and my wife would like to go see Magic Mike XXL. I say it's a good idea and I'll watch the kids so my wife and her can go. So my wife and her go and the neighbor and I go back to my house so the kids can play video games together. The kids are back in my son's room playing games and the neighbor is sitting across from me on the other couch. It is at this point that my wife starts texting him. She is describing sex acts she would like to perform with him and he is reciprocating. She tells him to check his Snapchat, and at the same time I get a Snapchat from her too, and it is her fingering herself in a bathroom stall. They keep talking, trying to figure out when they can meet up and have sex. They decide on Monday morning after I go to work. So in my head, I had already planned to pretend to leave and circle back to catch them. But then they tell each other that they love each other, and it is all I can do not to leap off the couch and knock him out. But I contain myself and continue reading the conversation unfolding in front of me. Then he tells her, "You're my girl now," to which she replies, "Always have been," ending with him writing, "and always will be." My wife and the neighbor's girlfriend return from the movie and I ask them politely to sit down. I then ask the kids to stay in my son's room and shut the door. I return to the living room and confront my wife and the neighbor. I say, "So you two love each other, huh?" My wife goes into full-blown denial mode and my neighbor's girlfriend starts smacking him. I ask my wife if she has been texting him, she says no. So I show her the text messages. She admits to it but says it was the first time it had gone that far. I asked my wife if she had sent him pictures, she says no. So I show her the picture, she admits it but says it was the first time. I ask her if she's having sex with him and she says no. Because I didn't wait to catch them having sex together, I didn't have evidence to prove her wrong, so that one stayed unresolved. I tell her that I'm leaving her. She tells me that she will make sure I never see my kids again if I do. She planned on using the fact that I had attempted suicide in high school to prove me unfit to have the children. She continues to say that it was my fault for being so busy with work and stressed out, that she just wanted someone to talk to. unquote. Okay, this whole story is so many levels of fucked up. Because first of all, this guy again should not be tapping his girlfriend's phone. I mean his wife's phone, like come on dude. But on the second hand, like nothing pisses me off more than getting like gaslit and blame accused by people. Like her saying that it was his fault because he was too busy with work, like dude, that grinds my gears, dude, come on. It makes me so angry. That's the same vibe as like, you know, like victim blaming. Like dude, it's just, oh my god. I mean, obviously not as severe, right? Because obviously not as severe, but it's like, it strikes that same nerve in me, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's keep reading. I just had to put this in my script that I had to, you know, vent a little bit, but let's keep going. Quote, then she gives me an ultimatum to decide what I'm going to do, or she will decide for me. The neighbor's girlfriend starts defending the two of them, saying that it couldn't have been serious if they weren't having sex, and that my wife and I are too perfect together to let this break us up. The neighbors go home and my wife and I argue for the rest of the night about what we're going to do. We go to bed separately, not having resolved anything. We kept going back and forth on the subject all weekend, and finally settled that we were going to separate temporarily while we figure out what we want. I was going to stay in the house and she was going to take the kids and go to her mom's house. That Monday, I went to work and I got a text from her in the middle of a meeting with my bosses, stating that she had explained things to our kids, but that they were upset and I need to explain it to them also. I get home from work to find my kids crying. She had told them that mommy had to move out because dad was mad at her. When my son wanted to stay with me, she told him that he can't. My son put it together that if mommy has to move out because I'm mad at her and he must move out, then I must have been mad at him too. My daughter was crying because my son was. I don't think she was old enough to understand what was happening. It was at that moment I realized she was going to drag the kids through hell if I left her, so I swallowed my feelings and begged her to stay. She agreed and insisted that I apologize to our neighbors since we were still going to need to hang out with them because our sons are good friends. I hate it, but I do it anyway. We still hang out with them from time to time and they come to our various birthday and holiday parties. But I'd do anything for my kids and I behave civil every time. Things died down a while. I still think about it constantly. I worried about how I could keep from making her so unhappy that she cheats on me again. Then, almost a year after the original incident, around Father's Day again, she sent him pictures again. She claimed it was an accident and that she meant to send them to me instead. I don't fully believe her, but I moved on anyway. Things have been quiet on that front for about 4 months now, but I still think about it constantly. This is going to sound stupid, but I feel like I have a part of my brain that I can't shut off that is always thinking. I used to use that to solve programming problems and it made me very good at my job. But ever since this incident, the only thing it thinks about is her and him and if I did the right thing. My job performance has suffered and I feel like I haven't gotten sleep in months. I'm afraid that after this much time and the fact that I begged her back, that to say I want a divorce now would only make her more vindictive towards my children and I. I just feel like I have to put myself so deep in a hole that I can never get back out. I haven't really talked to anyone about this. I didn't even want to talk to my mom about it, because I felt she would treat my wife differently and I didn't need the two of them fighting any more than they already do. I tried talking to one friend about it, but his advice was to put my trust in God, but that was not much solace for me as I'm an atheist. So I have no clue what to do with my feelings or how to move on from this." Unquote. The comments under the post had the same thought that the dad should divorce her. Her using the kids as a way to keep him married to her was a disgusting tactic, really. And the thought of her using his thoughts of suicide to keep his children away from him is even worse. In a follow-up post, he gave an update, quote, "Instead of trying to fix something she doesn't want to fix, she's refused counseling several times in the past before this even happened. I am going to get myself and the kids out. I meet with an attorney next week. Thank you everyone for helping me see how far I had my head up my ass." Unquote. You would believe this would be the end of it. He would file for divorce and things would turn out alright. But what happened next is the worst thing a father could ever have to go through. The day after he filed for divorce, his wife would do something terrible. Then make a phone call to 911. I will play that call for you right now.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency? 203 South Madison Street,
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I killed my 2 children.
You stabbed yourself and killed your 2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's your name?
Brandy Worley.
Brandy what?
Worley.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
In my daughter's room on the floor.
In your daughter's room on the floor? Okay. What's your phone number, Brandy? And what caused you to do this today?
My husband wanted a divorce and wanted to take my kid. I won't let him have my kid.
Okay, and how old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
7 and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where did you stab yourself at?
In the neck.
Okay. Are you bleeding?
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
Okay, and where are you at?
In my living room.
You're in your living room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and are you armed now with the knife still?
No, it's in my children's room.
November 17, 2016, 4:36:21.
Okay, are you still there? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, where's your husband at?
Downstairs somewhere.
Okay, what's his condition?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
And when you say downstairs, is he in a basement or?
Yeah.
November 17, 2016, 4:36:51.
Okay, what's his name?
Jason.
Is what?
Jason.
Nathan?
Jason.
Jason? Jason Worley?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have any other weapons with you?
Yeah. No.
No? Okay. And what are you feeling right now? I mean, you're tired? Are you where?
Yeah. I took a lot of Benadryl.
You took a lot of Benadryl?
Yeah.
Okay.
November 17, 2016, 4:37:49.
Is the front door unlocked?
No, we don't use it.
You know, you just use the back door?
Yeah. Side. It's on the side. It's unlocked.
Okay. And is there anyone else in the residence besides your children and you and your husband?
I called my mom.
You called your mom? What did she say?
I hang up and call 911 and she'd be here in a second.
What's your mom's name?
Rosemary Bell.
Can you spell that for me?
The last name?
No, just I'm having a hard time. I have a hard time hearing you. What did you say your mom's name was?
Rosemary Bell.
Rosemary Odell?
Zell.
Zell, okay. Rosemary Zell, okay. Do you have a phone number for her?
This call is so disturbing. She's so nonchalant about what she just did, most likely because of the Benadryl she took. Here's a timeline of what happened, taken from a Reddit post with the full details of everything. Quote, that afternoon, Jason Worley, a software engineer, returned from work and the family went to Charlie's dance practice, Booster said. After dinner at home, Brandy Worley went to Walmart telling her husband she needed pipe cleaners for a school project Tyler was working on. Instead of pipe cleaners, she bought a knife, the Journal Review reported. When she returned home, she hid the knife in Tyler's bedroom before going into the living room, where she and her husband played with their children together before Jason Worley put them to bed for the last time, the newspaper said. Booster said that early the following morning, Brandy Worley woke Tyler up for a sleepover in his little sister's room, the Journal Review reported. In Charlie's bedroom, she straddled her son and stabbed him repeatedly. Charlie awoke at one point and asked what her mother was doing, the prosecutor said. When Brandy Worley said nothing, Charlie went back to sleep. Once Tyler was dead, Brandy Worley stabbed Charlie to death. Their autopsies showed both children were stabbed multiple times, the Journal Review said. Worley then stabbed herself more than once in the neck, but survived. She was more adept killing her small sleeping children than killing herself, Booster said. Unquote. While this all happened, the husband Jason was asleep in the basement. He stated that if he were to have slept on the couch like his wife suggested, he could have maybe stopped it from happening or would have died with them. Quote, a father has one job in this world, to protect his children, and I failed to do that. Unquote. There would be 2 updates after this occurrence from Jason. Quote, I would like to give a heartfelt and sincere thank you for the advice and support I have received here. No one could have foreseen the tragedy that resulted from me filing for divorce. You guys perform a wonderful service to those in need, and I hope you continue to do so in the future. Edit. I would never ask for donations. I think it is incredibly tacky. I've worked very hard for everything I have in life. But because there has been a GoFundMe created by her family and I can't guarantee that they won't turn around and use it to support her in some way, I just ask that you spread the GoFundMe that my employer created for me. Unquote. This GoFundMe would go on to raise over $50,000 for Jason. Brandy would go on to receive 120 years in prison for killing her 2 children. The mother-in-law would try to use Jason's name and his children to try and raise funds for Brandy with medical and legal expenses. But all the donations were refunded and the page was taken down. Jason would make one last post on a different account titled, quote, an update from Jason in Hell. TLDR, I am doing better and I continue to get better every day. The first thing you may notice is that this is being posted from a different account. I deleted the u/Jason in Hell account in a knee-jerk reaction to seeing my Reddit posts and all the news. I guess the first question to answer is how am I doing, and to that I would say I'm doing well. I have bad days, but I think that is to be expected. It is just important that I, or anyone going through something, continue to use the support of friends and family as well as good coping skills to not let myself be completely defeated on those bad days. I won't lie, I struggled to get back to where I am. For some time, I refused to sleep because of a combination of fear of what I would wake up to and nightmares about that night. For a time, I used alcohol to sleep, but my family loved me enough to take it from me before it became a damaging and permanent habit. I was hospitalized because I did have thoughts of ending my life because I missed my children so much. From that, I learned that you should never be ashamed of your mental health, and not seeking treatment will only make it worse, not better. We have all heard it, but if you or a loved one is struggling, seek immediate assistance. Your life is too important to throw away in a moment of weakness. By putting off treatment, I only caused everything else in my life to suffer. I lost my job and became reclusive in the house. But don't worry, I've been back to work since December and I have nearly regained my former position and salary, so I am good and require no assistance. The second question would be, how do I feel about the sentencing? That is something that is harder to answer because no matter what the sentence is, nothing will bring back my beloved children. Do I think that she should have gotten the death penalty, which Indiana has? No, I do not. She wanted to die, and after 9 years of giving her what she wanted, when she wanted it, I was not going to give her another thing. Do I think the life sentence will have any appreciable effect on her? I don't know. One thing she always stressed for the entire time that I knew her was that she lived her life without any regrets. Even after I caught her cheating on me, she continued to say that she had no regrets. As for the ex-in-laws, they continue to be a problem to this day. Shortly after everything happened, they changed the locks on the home I was renting with them, with my property still inside. After trying to civilly negotiate the return of the property, it was required that I involve law enforcement. That is an ongoing legal battle. A member of the family accused me of stealing property I have purchased from them prior to the death of the children, and threatened to take action against me unless I paid double what I already paid them. I alerted the authorities, and as far as I know, that is resolved. They continued to make visiting my children's grave difficult. During the 1-year anniversary, they sat in their truck and just watched me the whole time I was visiting the grave. Because of that, I don't visit the grave as often as I would like to. If I can impart on you something I've learned through all of this, it is that you should always take the time to be with the ones you love. It doesn't matter if they're asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Bros even though you both know they will wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it, because you never know what time will be the last time. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard me say was, "I love you, good night, I'll see you in the morning." Unquote. What a tragic story. I hope Jason is doing well in spite of this event over a half-decade later. I don't think it's something you can fully get over, and from an outside look, it was very heartbreaking. I can't imagine how bad he must have felt the days, months, years after it happened. The entire situation occurring after making a simple Reddit post. What he said about feeling that he had failed in protecting his children broke me. It's genuinely one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever read. Next up we have The Whistler, which I covered in that one video a while ago, but nobody watched that video. Like, editor, put it on the screen. That got like no fucking views. Sorry, I'm trying to cheer myself up after that last fucking shit, dude. Okay. Whew. The Whistler. The Whistler is a story made as a comment to an Ask Reddit post titled, "Serious. What is the creepiest thing that has ever actually happened to you?" Only Serious replies, "So I'll share my story. I was opening my Skibbity Toilet official mystery figure box when I opened it to realize that I didn't get a toilet, but I got a cameraman." But the actual Serious comment was made by user BingBong1234. I've been waiting a long time to tell Reddit the full story of The Whistler. This story requires many details, but it is unexplainable, creepy, and 100% true. I also have video evidence. When I was about 8 years old, I was taking my dog for a walk through the neighborhood with my mom. It was maybe 11 p.m. We live next to a swamp/woods area on the edge of our neighborhood in Lansing, Michigan. I remember it being very silent and slightly windy. From down in the swamp, we heard somebody whistling at us. It sounded sort of like a bird, but each whistle was different enough where the lack of consistency made it human-like. The whistle sounded higher than lower. I can't really describe it. My mom had a concerned, slightly terrified look on her face and grabbed my hand and said that we should go inside quickly. I didn't understand because I was too young, but seeing my mom freak out made me freak out too. After a while, though, I kind of forgot about it. 2 years later, I was taking my dog out again late at night. There is a large bush that could easily obscure a person behind it just next to the front door. As I was finishing the walk, the whistling noise started again. Same pitches, same inconsistent human-like tones. As soon as I heard it, a chill went down my spine as I remembered the exact feeling of seeing my mom terrified, looking down into the swamp at something I couldn't see. Maybe she couldn't either. I ran inside as fast as possible. Unquote. Very scary. The unknown whistling in the middle of the night coming from a dark swamp and bush. The thought of the unknown and a feeling of impending doom. There would be nothing to help you out there if someone really was hiding, whistling. It reminds me of the eerie whistles from Death in that Puss in Boots movie. Very ominous and chilling. Quote, years went by and I thought about it less and less. I told only a handful of people and eventually it slipped from my mind. Fast forward to last summer. I'm 24, started dating my girl Sarah. We moved out to South Dakota for work. For Independence Day, we decided to go to Pierre, South Dakota and watch the fireworks along the bank of the Missouri River. There was a free camping spot behind a hospital where you could pitch your tent, hang out, and see the fireworks up the river. We were near the end of the campground and there were very few people around us. As it was getting dark, the fireworks began. They were pretty far away, so the illumination they brought was very little. Thus, we had to sit right at the edge of the river to be able to see them. A huge thunderhead was moving in and a storm was imminent, so the air seemed electric and the wind was picking up. The atmosphere was eerie to say the least. The police boats herded all the other boats off of the river and had left our area to do that elsewhere. Most of the other campers walked up the river to have a better view of the fireworks, but Sarah and I stayed back and were drinking PBR tall boys and kicking it. Suddenly, we heard the sound of a paddle methodically dipping into the water. We saw a figure steering a canoe about 20 meters offshore. Sarah decided to go get more beers from the car, leaving me alone to stare at this mystery person. And then, of course, they whistled at me. My entire body was frozen and covered in goosebumps. It was the exact same whistler from my childhood more than a decade later. I looked at the figure, but it was much too dark to discern who it could be. They were wearing a hat. When they were perpendicular to the shore from me, they stopped paddling, turned the canoe to face directly at me, and whistled right at me. I was just so frightened I stood up and shouted at them, "Who are you?" They didn't say anything, just whistled a couple more times, turned the canoe 180 degrees, and paddled out of sight. I'm a videographer, so I already had my camera by my side and was taking video of the fireworks. As the canoe was almost out of sight, I grabbed my camera and got a shot of them whistling as they went away. When Sarah came back from getting beers, she was very confused as to why I was so freaked out. When I explained, she was freaked out a bit too. I was convinced we would both be murdered that night. How did this whistling person follow me after 14 years all the way to South Dakota? Was it a coincidence? Why was it the same whistling noise? Who was that person and where did they go? So many questions still unanswered. To this day, I'm more afraid of being outside in the dark where I might hear that whistling again." Unquote. After 14 years of whistling-free fear, it happened again. The feeling of remembering something, especially scary after 14 years, is so adrenaline-inducing, especially if it's a core memory of your childhood. There have been things I've forgotten for most of my life from my childhood that will come into my mind randomly or from the environment. An experience that is scary makes the whole feeling so much worse, and did give the Redditor the feeling of impending doom, death even. After a while, the Redditor uploaded a video of that experience. Quote, "When I was still getting shots of the fireworks, I heard the whistling starting. I was too afraid of that moment to point the camera directly at the canoe, so I just turned my microphone toward it and kept a low-key shot facing down the river toward the fireworks. If you wear headphones, you can hear it better. It's the two-note whistle, high then low. You can hear me ask my girlfriend, 'Are you whistling? Is that you?' She said no, but I wasn't. It looks like they're wearing a red sweater or something." This video is very scary. The water calmly washing onto the shore, mixed in with the background of fireworks and boat motors. The whistle is so out of place for it, and the darkness gives it a more eerie feeling. I'll play it right now.
You whistling? Is it you? Stop it.
story beforehand makes it worse by instilling the fear that this man had as a child into you, and a lot of the comments state hearing the whistle even after pausing the video. Creepy. Although looking at some comments, the answer is potentially revealed. Quote, has anyone else made the connection that this is a person imitating a chickadee bird song? If you whistle like that around chickadees, they get territorial and fly really close to you. My high school biology teacher would always whistle like that while hiking. And several fowl species whistle similar to this. I've got a few birds that make similar noise to this, and I've got a few birds that make similar noise in the morning. And finally, guys, let me debunk this to you. Push his glasses up. The sound he heard when he was a kid at 8 and 10 years old was simply a black-capped chickadee. The whistle he hears from that man is either the man mimicking the bird or doing a simple two-toned whistle, also known as the breathe-in, breathe-out whistle. Funny, this guy was terrified by just a man enjoying a canoe ride on the river, unquote. Listening to the birdsong of the chickadee, it is clear that this must be it. The bird's Phoebe call must have been what this person was hearing all those times. It does sound ominous, like a call made to grab your attention, but it was only a bird. To most, this would be the end, mystery solved. But to some people, including the Redditor, the whistling isn't from a bird. Maybe there is a mysterious whistling man out there. Alright guys, thanks for watching Disturbing Things from Reddit Part 2. Hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Go subscribe for more content and have a great night. Sweet dreams, guys.